Shalom, shalom, everyone. This is Brother Laverne Thomas, and thank you for joining me today. To give out a little bit of information. So let's get to it. Let's go to 2 Corinthians 6 and 16. 2 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 16. And it's read, and what agreement had the temple of God with idols? For ye are the temple of the living God, without, as God has said, I will dwell in them and walk in them, and I will be their God, and they shall be my people. So let's read that again. And what agreement had the temple of God with idols? So let's see what this agreement is. So let's run over here. Here you go, right here. Agreement is a covenant, a concord. A covenant is a binding agreement or promise between two parties, and it is a central principle understanding in the Bible. Covenants involve God making promises to his people Israel, and the people agreeing to follow him and obey his commandments according to the agreement. The covenant made by God with the Israelites after he freed them from slavery in Egypt, in which God gave them commandments and other laws and promised to be their God, providing they were obedient to his commandment. So they had been doing something. But here's the agreement right here. It's a concord in the covenant. So this agreement God had with his temple. This agreement he had with his temple. So let's go to back. 2 Corinthians 6 and 16. And what agreement had the temple of God with idols? So let's see what agreement that God had with his temples. So let's go to Exodus chapter 19 and verse 5. And it reads, now therefore, for that reason, if ye will obey my voice indeed and keep my covenant. See that? That's the agreement. Then ye shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people, for all the earth is mine. So that's the agreement right there between God and his temple. The agreement is covenant. So let's go back to 2 Corinthians 6 and 16. 2 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 16. And what agreement, which has seen what that was, had the temple of God with idols? Well, let's see what is this idol. What is it talking about? It says idol. Right here. Idols. False gods. See that? False gods. Grieving images. Molten images. Abomination. Vanities. See that? These are false gods. Idols. So let's see. What do these idols look like? Let's see. Let's go to Acts 17 and 24. Acts chapter 17, verse 24. It says, God that made the world and all things therein, seeing that he is Lord, creator of heaven and earth, dwelleth not in temples made with hands. Now see, God had nothing to do with these temples, these physical buildings, these church buildings, um, Church of Christ, everybody walking in every Sunday. I used to take part of that too. So when I'm speaking about all this, I'm actually referring to myself. So I'm included in all this too. So I don't know why in the world we keep going to these church buildings every Sunday, week in and week out. But these are idols. We can see that. So let's go get another witness. Let's go to Acts 7:48. Acts chapter 7, verse 48. It said, howbeit the Most High dwelleth not in temples made with hands, as said the prophet. See, he's not dwelling in a physical building. They keep telling people God is there. God is not there. We just went to two places to prove that. So let's go to Leviticus 26 and 1. Leviticus chapter 26 and verse 1. See, ye shall make no idols or graven image, neither rear up a standing image, neither shall ye set up any image of stone in your land to bow down unto it. For I am the Spirit of your God, your God. See that? But we are here building up church buildings, and you go in every corner, they once saved, always saved. Walk into physical building, these are idols. I once took part of this idolization. These are idols. Won't profit you anything. You can't profit walk in no church building saying that God is there. So let's go to Ezekiel 6 and 6. Ezekiel chapter 6 verse 6. In all your dwelling places, the city shall be laid waste, and the high places, see, those church buildings, shall be desolate, that your altars may be laid waste and made desolate, and your idols, they go to idols again, may be broken and cease, and your images may be cut down, and your works may be abolished. See, God not dwelling in no physical temple. He already made agreement with his temple. So let's go to Habakkuk. Habakkuk 2, chapter 2, verse 18. Here we go again. Where profiteth the grieving image that the maker thereof had grieved it, the molten image, and a teacher of lies. See, it's talking about those false prophets in there. The false God, the teacher of lies, that make the maker of his work trusted therein to make up dumb idols. So you go in those church buildings talking about lies, these men in there talking about give all your money to help out this, to help with that. I was part of all that, giving tithes, go downstairs eating pork chop dinners, and after church you gather. What's crazy is you go in these church buildings, you go in there after Sunday is over, all through the week, you go sin all through the week, come back and do it all over again. Go inside the building, say I'm saved. Once you come out the building, go right back to sinning for the whole week. It's like a repeated cycle. But let's go to Hebrews 9 to 24. Hebrews chapter 9, verse 24. Here we go again. That's three places we didn't went to covering this, saying, for Christ is not entered into the holy places made with hands, those church buildings, which are the figures of the truth, but to heaven itself now appeared in the presence of God for us. See that? These are figures of the truth. So let's go back to 2 Corinthians six 16. 2 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 16. And it reads, and what agreement of the temple of God with idols? For ye are the temple of the living God. Ye are the temple of the living God. Temple. We went back to the other verse in Hebrews 9:24. And those figures, let's see what those figures are. Let's go to 1 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 16. And it reads, know ye not that ye are the temple of God, and the Spirit of God dwelleth in you? See, the figures. Temple of God dwelleth in you. Similitudes. So let's go to Deuteronomy 29 and 17. Deuteronomy chapter 29, verse 17. Mm. And ye have seen their abomination and their idols, wood and stone, silver and gold, which were among them. Mm. See, idols again keep popping up all over. And ye have seen their abominations and their idols, wood and stone, silver and gold, which are among them. So let's see these. Let's see their abominations. Let's see. Let's go. Let's go to Galatians. You already know. Galatians 5, chapter 5, verse 19. Mm. Now the works of the flesh are manifest, is made known, which are these: adultery, fornication, uncleanness, lasciviousness, idolatry. See that? Idolatry. Let's see what idolatry is. See that? That's how it's moving. Idolatry. Adultery is worship of idols, given into idolatry. Worship of idols, given to idolatry. Pretty much transgressions and sin. So let's go back to 2 Corinthians 6 and 16. 2 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 16. For ye are the temple of the living God, as God hath said, I will dwell in them and walk in them, and I will be their God, and they shall be my people. Now, for some reason, you got people telling you that this Jesus, the man, what they said was God, walked into physical temples. God, God. They said God walked into these temples and started preaching to everybody. Well, he was dwelling in the temples. Impossible. See that? He said, as I said, as God has said, I will dwell in them and walk in them. You're not talking about walking to no physical church building, Church of Christ, Church of Tabernacle of John Baptist III, Mount Carmel, you name it, they out there. But he ain't walking in them. Let's see where he's dwelling. Let's go to Exodus, verse 20, chapter 25, verse 8. It said, let them make me a sanctuary that I may dwell among them. See that? Let them make me a sanctuary. Let's see what this sanctuary is. Sanctuary, a holy place, temple. We just saw where he was dwelling in the sanctuary. Place, temple, house of God, tabernacle, the body, similitudes, us, we the temple of God. That's his sanctuary. So let's go to Leviticus. Leviticus chapter 26. Chapter 26, verse 12. I believe it's in there. See? And it reads, and I will walk among you, and I will be your God, and ye shall be my people. This is who he's dwelling in. So, as I'm coming to a close, let's go to Ezekiel 37:27. Ezekiel chapter 37 and 27. My tabernacle, we just seen what that was, also shall be with them. Yea, I will be their God, and they shall be my people. See that? So let's go to Ezekiel chapter 16, verse 24 and 25. And it reads, thou hast also built unto thee an eminent place, and has made thee a high place in every street. Thou hast built thy high place, those church buildings, at every head of the way, and has made thy beauty, God's laws, to be abhorred, to be hated, and has opened thy feet to everyone, thy desires to everyone that passes by, and multiply thy whoredoms. Mm. So I'm coming to a close on the last two verses. I'm gonna leave everybody with this. Because I was once in this situation. So anybody out there that still going to these church buildings and thinking God is there, let's see what we need to do. Let's go to 1 Corinthians 6 and 18. First Corinthians 6 and 18. This is what we need to do right here. Let's do it. Flee fornication. Every sin that a man doeth is without the body, but he that committed fornication sinned against his own body. That means Christ is not in you. He's not dwelling in you. Let's flee fornication. But if we don't flee fornication, this is what I once was. In closing, let's go to Deuteronomy 23 and 2. Deuteronomy chapter 23, verse 2. And it reads, a bastard, a heathen, shall not enter into the congregation of the Lord, of the Spirit of God, without even to his 10th generation shall he not enter into the congregation of the Spirit of God. So hopefully, some people got a little bit of information. I won't be here too long, but thank everybody for coming out, listening, and anybody was gaining wealth of information. Hopefully, it's stuck with somebody throughout the week, or just if you're at your job thinking about something, just meditate on a little bit of this. So this is being brother Laverne Thomas. I want to say to you, shalom.